Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 387, and today we're doing battle in an eternal best of 3 Ruthless Rumble. And so, for me today, I was unfortunately unable to play in the Mastering Runeterra Open event. I had a family get-together today that blocked me from being able to play that, but I am able to come in and play the Ruthless Rumble, very excited for it, and there's going to be plenty of best of 3 in the upcoming weeks with the Mastering Runeterra event behind us. We'll have the 2 Riot events of the 2 upcoming weekends, and then the Gauntlet should be best of 3 for the remainder of those 2 weeks. And so it won't be the Ruthless Rumbles, it'll be the smaller buy-in style of events, but lots of opportunity to play best of 3 over the course of the next couple weeks or so, if that's what you're really into, want to collect some of those Gauntlet reward path trophies, whatever we call those. Trophies are what I think the appropriate word is. And so, my current take on the format with us, I don't like playing control decks. Everyone knows that. I'd much rather be playing a deck with Decimate in it. We're going to talk a lot of trash about things like Seraphine and Aphelios along the way. Those are just decks that I do not enjoy playing, and so we don't really look towards those. But that doesn't mean that we can't really adapt and play decks that work well in this meta. And the thing to me that works well in this meta right now is having big kind of punchy overwhelm units. And so the 2 big things that you're really going to be encountering in terms of the common opposing deck lists are you're going to have boards completely full of units, and so you're going to have decks like Nora, you're going to have decks like Tristana that just put a ton of little dudes on the board. And so if your kind of game plan is to go wider than your opponent and punch and damage around the edges, that's very challenging to do. And so I don't really like decks like Tristana Ziggs, Poppy Ziggs. I don't really like decks like Pirates since they're trying to attack with that kind of ground-based plan. The other thing is there's a lot of really cheap 1 and 2 damage removal, and so Bandle City is very popular right now, bringing in cards like Group Shot, Pokey Stick, and Pastry Toss, and then PNZ is also exceptionally popular right now, bringing in a lot of Mystic Shots and High Notes. And so the way I like to come in and try and combat this is just play units that are just a little bit bigger, maybe play units with Spell Shield, and most definitely play units that can either overwhelm, elusive, or rally. And so to kind of get you caught up with our lineup, we played Tristana Atrocity, very happy with that one. That's one of these decks that with the impact and the Atrocity, you have that ability to go over top of those wide boards. We're going to be playing Gangplank Sejuani. This is a deck that Gangplank and Sejuani both have big overwhelms, along with a handful of elusives to attack around that stuff. And then the last new feature that we're going to be playing in this event is going to be Jack's Vi Timelines, and that has the ability to get those big punch-through attacks in with Jax and Vi. Jax sort of naturally having Overwhelm, Vi being able to get it from the various equipment that you improvise, and then that gives you those nice ways to punch in and crash through the opposing boards. And so we could pull up the deck list real quick. Teemo Tristana, fairly straightforward. The thing that I do that isn't that super common is play the 3 copies of Hate Spike. I feel like I don't like cards like Calling Strike because they're slow speed. I want to be able to play these cards in the middle of combat. I want to be able to do stuff like block a life-stealing Victor and then throw our unit away so the opponent doesn't get the damage. I really like having access to Hate Spike as opposed to those slower things, especially since it does so much more damage than a Group Shot or a Pokey Stick. Otherwise, fairly straightforward across the deck list. We might be playing a little bit more Spell Shieldy units. The Bandle Commando isn't an auto-include in this style of deck, but those are the big differences that we play in our list compared to what you may see off of runeterra.ar. Gangplank Sejuani, again, a fairly straightforward one. I feel like the flex spot in this deck is the Father Fury space, so you're deciding if you want to play Father Fury, Black Market Merchant, if you want to play the Improvise Attune Bandle, or the Improvise Attune Bilgewater unit, whatever. I like Father Fury. I like that we could play him on turn 2 and attack, get that plunder style attack in without having to spend a spell. More ideally, we will get it after a plunder and get to draw the card, which is very nice as well. A lot of the 1-cost cards are extremely relevant. Hitting things like Parlay can be quite nice off of the RNG generation, but I feel like it also plays well with Zap and the Spirits Unleashed. It gives us this kind of secondary path to victory with the slightly larger elusives. With that slightly larger elusives idea in mind, I do like the Dreadway. Lets those elusives punch punch in for double damage while picking up the Gangplank. I still kind of like flounder back and forth between whether or not I would like to have the Dreadway or Feel the Rush. I do not want Babbling Bjerg. That's a cheaper option that guarantees you draw either Gangplank or Sejuani, just not one that I really prefer in this meta. And so, deck you haven't seen on our channel just yet is the Jax Vi version of Concurrent Timelines. And so tons of Concurrent Timelines running around right now. Bandle City is the current popular version with the Banana Blaster, maybe with Nora, maybe without. But Banana Blaster is the most common version. There's also, of course, the more classic Trundle version. But I do like a lot that comes out of this Vi version in the sense that you have this nice burn package to come in and go around the opposing deck with. And so if we get a couple of angles to victory at the end of the game to where we have Overwhelm with Jax, we can potentially get the Overwhelm equipment. It's not that hard to do when like 12 of our units have or 12 or 15 of our units have Improvise. Those come along very easily. But with this full burn package at the end of the day with the Mystic Shot, Get Excited, Blowback, it gives us that additional way to attack the opponent's health without having to just have a big statted unit on board. And so, those are the decks. That's what we're doing battle with today. Let's go ahead, jump on in, see if we can't unlock a victory. And so, 15 to the face, level 2 champion, V stands for something. Let's get them into battle, see what we can do. Alright, yeah, maybe we'll get a couple of victories. I usually get about 2 and 2 in these things, and so... it's a big ask. It's a big thing to do, but we're doing better, man. I know that we haven't had a ton of success in these, but I feel like I've learned more over the course of the past 2 or 3 Ruthless Rumbles that I've played in than I have in about a week or 2 of ladder grinding. It was a fantastically educational experience. The past couple of these I played in, even though not necessarily the most high success rate in terms of win rate. Okay, reasonable lineup here. I'm still on this space to where I'm just banning out Thresh Nasus every time. I'm kind of considering moving the lineup into more of a space to where Thresh Nasus isn't a deck that we're really looking to ban, but I've been pretty happy with it across the board. Set Trundle feels like a bit of a high roll deck to me. I know that it's strong. This is going to be using the Ice Pillar with Trundle, or the Ice Pillar and Feel the Rush along with Set and the Old Timer. If we can get out in front of it, it's not that strong. This is one of the places to where you would much rather be playing something like Pirates that we don't have in our lineup. And then the Poppy Ziggs deck is whatever to me. Hopefully we can get out in front of it and be okay. To me, I concede that Poppy Ziggs is a good deck. Again, like, it just feels like to me, though, if you're out here trying to win a 9-round event, Poppy Ziggs isn't really what you want to be doing it with. I just don't like that the deck doesn't have reach to it. And so if you look at a deck like Pirates, it has all of the card draw and all of the burn for the late game. That's what I'm kind of talking about when I say it has reach. It has something to do on turn 8 or turn 9 of the game. Poppy Ziggs to me just kind of flounders out too early too often, and I don't really like that aspect of the deck. But good start for us. We had that timelines for turn 1, always good. We have a very early curve to just start slamming down big units in front of the opponent. Very happy with how things are going here. As far as this start goes, I'm going to lead out with this upcycled Rake. I was actually kind of hoping we would pick up something a little bit more defensive in terms of what our equipment was producing so that we could attack into a 2-power unit. It didn't quite come together, but is what it is, you know. Still okay with this 3/3 Keeper of Masks coming down. I'm happy enough to attack. I'm not going to trade it away. I'm willing to attack and maybe take the unit off of the board, but I'm not willing to trade it. And so I want to be able to block. The opponent's going to be much better at filling out the board than we are. And so I wanted to have that kind of opportunity. That was pretty good, though. Opponent not having any units on the second turn is quite strong for us. Ooh, Ziggs getting the chime, though. That's a little bit on the scarier end of things. And so with these, I'm going to hold on to the Innovative Blacksmith. I'll see if we can't find a turn to where it still can't come down onto the board and be face up so that we can potentially block some of these opposing units. Now blocking Badger Bear is fantastic. Say what up to our 6'4" tough Ziggs. You thought you were big, but I'm ready to block, dude. Ready to block. Alright, concurrent timeline's not the greatest draw in the world, but that's okay. Now I'm going to go on the more aggressive front here and just take the Fix'em 5000. Now that we've kind of got Ziggs in a bit of a stranglehold. If we pick the Wyvern, that's interesting. The Wyvern would give us a 5-5, the Yordle will give us a 5-5, but the Yordle generating these poison darts is going to be exceptionally relevant here. And so he's going to be our play, really limit our opponent from playing 1 health units down here. Okay. Juicy pirouette for us. Alright, here comes my big quick attacker. Enjoy the damage. And then we can hopefully harass any more of his units with the poison dart. He's tapped out, so we can't do it. I'm not going to play the poison dart. I want to bank that mana. We have a lot of good plays in our hand. Namely, we're looking to play Vi with Scout. And so we'll save that for a couple of turns from now. Fareth is one of the cards I'm not super sold on. It's pretty okay in this space right now, since we're going to be able to get this cheap unit on the board and then follow up with the Blacksmith, but I do concede that he's one of the weaker cheap plays that we're going to be running out here. Alright, now I'll go with the Precious Pet. I'm not really amped about picking up the Flight. I think if we could win the game next turn, I'd be a little bit more excited for the Flight, but he's not big enough to pull that off. Okay, fairly straightforward blocks. Opponent only has 1 mana here, so like unless he's playing something like a Elixir of Wrath, this attack's just going to get blown up. Alright, the Blacksmith comes in, ready to heal us up, take us back up to 20 against Poppy Ziggs. Feels good if you can if you can pull that off. Opponent says GG. Your turn 1 timelines was too much, bust. Alright, but that was a very important match to win. The Gangplank Sejuani match up against Poppy Ziggs, it's winnable, but it's not fantastic. It's a little bit of an underdog against us. I feel like Gangplank Sejuani is probably a little bit of an underdog against both of these decks. I would feel... I'm trying to think if I'd feel better against Trundle's set if we also had... Feel the Rush. But, I mean, going up against the deck with Deny does make you prefer the Dreadway a little bit more. Nonetheless, reasonable start here. We have the Shell Shocker for turn 1. I was ready to Warning Shot Father Fury on turn 2, but we can look to just kind of switch over to the Tusk Speaker now. Pretty reasonable start. We can really power up our champion starting on turn 1. The opposing deck doesn't play a ton of 1s or 2s, and so I feel like any of our 1-drops should be able to get this turn 1 ping in, and then we're probably going to be opening on turn 3. Let's see, I can't remember if this deck plays the ramp units. I don't think it does.
I heard the war song in the waves.
Not entirely certain with these Trundle set lists. It's one of those decks that I thought was a bit of a meme. Like, it does have a lot of really high-powered stuff to it with those Ice Pillar style plays. But I can't entirely remember. Like, I really wish I remembered if it was playing Blighted Ravine. That's the big one at this space. Alright, Jailbreak turns up. Free unit. So let's see. Like, I really want to just be flooding the board this turn with the Tusk Speaker Jailbreak. If he plays a Blighted Ravine, we can't do it. Trundle's fine. We can attack around and through Trundle. We just need one of our big cards now. This is a deck I'd certainly prefer a little bit of Black Market Merchant, being able to pick up Feel the Rushes and the like out of the opposing deck. Alright, Shell Shocker. We need the work to get done. This is like this attack takes him down to like 4, 3 or 4. We're close. I was gonna say the block is what ships it back up a little bit. Wanting to get that burn plan with the with these bad spells. Yeah, starting to look bad. We need a champion real bad. All right, let's hold back on our dudes. See what opponent's got. He can Ice Pillar Old Timer us this turn, but he shouldn't be able to get a kill through that. And then we do get to refill if that's what he's bringing. Definitely not blocking here. I'm going to go ahead and lead out with a Make It Rain. Just spend some of this mana before we drop either the Shell Shocker or the Zap, and it's in a spot to where it's guaranteed to deal that point of damage. There's a realistic chance we should have just played both of them. Let's see. Trundlequake. Okay. It was interesting to see him play a card before he played his Ice Pillar. Now they're tapped out.
Keep up, keep up. Shelly.
So what do we have? We're at 4 damage in hand, 2 from Zap. That's only 6. We're going to be quite short. Definitely need to find a champion, or this one's just going to be done. Oh, Mirai Warden, you gotta you gotta do the work for us, my dude. You gotta do the work.
This'll take the chill off.
I got this.
All right, squad, get in there.
Nothing's tougher than a troll.
Get him for that nice 4-piece nugget. Take him down to 7. Whew. Not feeling good.
I make it my business to know the odds.
We can like crash through all this damage. That's not the big deal. It's just we gone too many turns without spending enough mana. We didn't pick up any Spirits Unleashed. We didn't pick up any Eye of Nagakaboros. We didn't pick up any champions. Like all of our expensive stuff is nowhere to be found. There's a bit of an argument to say that like this board is so bad, but we might want to just hold on to these burn spells and see if we draw the Dreadway, just as a kind of protectionary measure, if you will, to try and slam that damage in here at the end. Interesting. Okay.
Something for your nerves.
All right, you got a bunch of stuff on board. I did the mathematics on that one. If you're not familiar with what this deck can do, it has 2 big combos in it, right? You can play the Ice Pillar, which opponent's neglecting to do, and then that comes into play, spends 8 mana, then you play the Old Timer. The Old Timer wants you to spend 16 mana on the turn. 8 plus 8 is 16. You get to bounce all the opposing units. The other one is Feel the Rush, right? So you play Feel the Rush, you spend 12 mana for the turn, Set comes down onto the board, he sees that you spent 12 mana, he puts the Showstopper in your hand, and so if that 12 damage from Set wasn't enough on it, or the 2 10/10s wasn't enough on their own, then having Set back there to, or the big spell to come in and clean things up is kind of nice, but that was tough. No, we didn't. We picked Gangplank Sejuani. Get in here. What's that error? The error said failed to pick a deck. No, I didn't. I better reset the game. I didn't need to. I saw the game load up as soon as I closed it, and so hopefully things will load back up here. Okay. I'm happy enough to start with Mirai Warden, Make It Rain. We're up against the Poppy Ziggs deck. Those are our reasonable early game plays. We don't have the turn 1 damager like we would like, but we at least have a lot of interactivity here for the first couple of turns. Alright, I'm just going to keep passing. Let's see what the opponent does here. It's a pretty bad pass for them. I'd like to deal the point of damage for the round, but I'd also like to get the high quality Make It Rains if we can. And that's how you do it, like a pro right there. You get the you get the 1 to face, and then you hit the 2 little guys while you're at it. Nice work. Nice work, I tell you. Oh, he's hit his Ziggs both times, though. Goes both ways, I guess.
Nice to meet you. I'm Isla.
Damn it. That's a disaster. From the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. I mean, I think we just have to eat this 5. So much damage. Like, literally any unit was what I was asking for. Any unit that could block. The Watchful Idol says, fuck you. Appreciate it, boss. Alright, well, let's try and continue forth here. We have only got 1 level up on our Gangplank, so he's not doing any special attacks anytime soon. He's not going to be able to get his big attack in until 3 turns from now, right? If we get one thing in this turn, it's only going to go up to 2. So our next attack token, he could be up to 4. I'm kind of squandering back and forth if I want to add Mirai Warden or if I want to add Zap. I think we need to add Zap just because of the kind of mana considerations here. Right, if we add Mirai Warden and then we just bank up, it doesn't feel particularly good. We'll attack with Zap, see if he adds in anything else. We have a couple of board clear kind of cards in the Spirits Unleashed and the Make It Rain, and so maybe we'll get to pop with one of these. Let's just give it a moment. He's added in another one. Let's play the Make It Rain now. I kind of want to know which of these units we have to block. We don't have enough blockers to just be like, okay, well, I'm going to block everything and make it rain and just kind of hope my good units survive. I think we need to do it beforehand so that we know which blocks are going to be good. Alright, so he's out of mana at this point. The Poppy's kind of scary, but we do have this opportunity to clear out both of his small units. And he didn't play a 1-drop last turn, and so I'm going to go ahead and Spirits Unleashed. That should let us block both his Ziggs and his Poppy. And then, without his width, the Poppy is a much less scary unit, right? If we're able to take the Ziggs down to 1 health, we can kill him with Parlay. Same idea here with Poppy. She just dies in this combat, so very positive.
I can't wait to see what this one does.
We dealt the damage this turn, right? Yeah, the Spirits Unleashed already got the damage in. Okay. Okay, friends. Turn this nonsense around. So many Eye of Nagakaboros. I think we need to come in with the Gangplank now. You gotta keep up our mana spend. I'm really interested in getting this Mirai Warden on the board, but it's another turn to where it's just so expensive to get down. Or I'm sorry, it's not expensive to get down, it's just we don't have any other plays to make. Like the Eye of Nagakaboros aren't giving us an additional blocker here. Alright, Ziggs comes back down. Much less scary though. Much less scary at this point. We're getting a little bit of development here.
Alright, team. Adventure time.
So we go ahead and Eye of Nagakaboros first, right? We're not going to be able to, like, if we play the Mirai Warden and then do it afterwards, it's not going to be that great.
Light the fuse.
We got this.
I'm gonna catch you.
Okay, let's just kill all of his dudes. I would really enjoy having Gangplank next turn, but let's just play it safe and get these dum-dums out of here. We're pretty far out of burn range, I believe, here, and so I like that aspect of it. I'm actually just going to pass the turn. You have to kind of watch yourself with these powder kegs and having the Spirits Unleashed. You don't want to grant all of your allies and then deal 2 to everything and kill off your own dudes. Our guys will survive this one, but I'm going to go ahead and just Warning Shot to the face. Actually, let's give him a chance to play a unit first. We can add in the Mirai Warden kind of safely, and then look to parlay whatever he plays. I'm not going to parlay a Poro Sled. So we did just drop a little bit of extra damage here. It's not that bad in this spot. The Poppy Ziggs deck doesn't play a ton of Overwhelm units. It doesn't play any Overwhelm units, actually, and so having our units fall down a little bit is not the end of the world as it would be against something like pirates. Alright. We got our lethal. Comes the squad. Very relevant pickup in the brittle steel. We don't need it for this game, but it's quite the strong pickup out of old Father Fury. But we lose to Set, able to pick up things with the Gangplank Sejuani. Feels good, GG. Let me restart this, see if we can't get our tracker back up. Alright. But that's that kind of space we're asking for out of Gangplank Sejuani. I'm not certain how much I love it. It's like I almost want to use Gangplank and Pirates and then cut this deck out, or there's spaces to where I know like Rico Rex is having a lot of sex, lol. He's having a lot of success with Blue Gwen, the Gwen Sejuani deck, and I like a lot of the aspects of that. It's like tough is such an interesting space right now with so many of these like pokey stick style cards running around that it's not like, oh, I want to go out here and build a tough deck, right? I don't want to build Vladimir with a bunch of tough units and take advantage of it like that, and I don't want to play the Scargrounds, but having a bit of incidental tough, or having Chain Vests, or having the Durandi unit that puts toughness and a +1 health onto a dude, they're all surprisingly strong in this format. And so I look at decks like Blue Gwen and see that they have the 2-cost tough unit in it, and I kind of like that. Playing the Elites deck that we did, having that 2-cost tough unit in it, they're surprisingly resilient and surprisingly strong in these formats, and something to just kind of, it's one of those like little incremental advantages that adds up big at the end of the day. I'm curious how that sentence was going to finish off. Rico Rex, he hangs out at the top of the EU ladder. He's very well known for being a lover of the Overwhelm decks. I think he first hit Overwhelm this season with Renekton, and then he got back up to #1 with Blue Gwen. I know last season he ultra popularized the Yetis deck. With the overwhelmness there. I'm just curious where that sentence is going. Rico Rex likes to have sex with ... We were about to immediately talk about Sejuani Gwen, and so both of those responses would have turned this would have turned this into an explicit channel quickly. But we'll see. He's one of those people, is like he plays a lot of the decks that I really want to enjoy, and I'd like to mimic some of their success. It's one of those spaces to where it's like, well, if you can do it, we should be able to do it as well, and not feel as bad about playing some of those decks. He's just better than us, and so that's what happens. But nonetheless, the big aggro lineup coming out of the opponent, I like to ban Pirates here. The Pirates, to me, are the stronger of the matchups. It just has that resilience to it, like I said before, with all of the card draw. Has the burn spells to go overhead. I feel like against these matchups, we can 2-0 Annie Jen pretty reasonably, and then, of course, you saw in that previous game, we did just 2-0 Poppy Ziggs. That was a little easier than it typically should be, but neither of these decks have that reach that I like to talk about. They don't have that late game ability. Why do you keep doing this thing? They just get to that turn 6, turn 7 and say, oh, I played all my cards. Like, I hope my Decimate is enough to end this game. Okay, up against Annie Jen to start though. Jax isn't a super strong unit in this space, so we're definitely hanging on to the timelines. The Jax is kind of tempting in the sense that he's just a 2-drop that we can play early, but since we do have the timelines, I'd prefer to just mulligan that away and see if we can't find a 2-drop non-champion, a 3-drop non-champion, something to just fit in the curve a little bit better. So as it stands, we got Fereth, and we did mulligan into a Mystic Shot. So we got a couple of options on turn 2 here, both of which are better than Jax.
I can do this.
All right, so the Boom Crew rookie comes in. I'd like to be able to take him down. It's not too tall of an order out of the Fereth. Pot of Pain does make it tough. We didn't hit any of the 2 attack equipment, so that's a bit of a bummer. But we did land the Penitent Squire for the potential takedown. Game is just all kinds of fucking up today. I can't get this attack token thing to go away. It keeps telling us we don't know how to load a deck list. This is...
Better run.
I gotta tell the intern to work a weekend or something. I hope you're doing okay, intern. We don't talk about you as much now that Expedition is gone. But oh my god, oh shit. Okay, I assume opponent will probably play a card here. I'm trying to eyeball how much mana we actually have here, and you just can't see. I guess we're gonna just be playing this on hard mode today. How do we make this go away? There it goes. Jesus. Alright, got that dum-dum out of here. Why did we just take damage? Was that just like a delayed animation from that thing? Okay. God, I'm losing it. Oof. Okay. Reasonable enough space here. Lots of burn to stop whatever it is he's trying to do. Let's see if we're going to get units down or not in this space. The problem with this hand we have right now is everything is so expensive, right? We only get to play 1 card this turn. It's actually kind of disastrous. I think I'll still end up playing the Combat Cook here, but this is definitely trouble. We're going to be taking 5 at least. Alright, so no defensive stats. I'm going to go with the Fixin' 5000. It's going to put us in more of a spot to where we can actually come in and block. Right, now pick up the Cultist. The spell could be critical. But right, if we're going to be like attacking next turn, we prefer our unit not die so it's able to get those blocks in. Fuck me, we're just dead? Alright. 8, 10, 13. No. that's what Annie Jen can do to you sometimes. That's a bummer, man. Like that's the match I was really feeling good about being able to 2-0. And so to get our hand clogged like that is just super painful. But see if we can't do more abuse to Ziggs. So what do we got? This Timelines is doing a good job of showing up on the first turn. I do appreciate that. Get rid of the Ferreth and look for something else cheap. Jax, you're just such a bummer. I want you to be good, dude, but these aren't the matchups to where you shine. He functions like a 6-drop that costs 2 mana, right? You can throw it down in a pinch on turn 2, but you're really looking to play Jax later in the game after he's already leveled up.
Where's my axe?
Let's try this again. Looking for a defensive. Didn't find it initially, but we'll start with the combat reel. No one here is going to survive the combats, and so I'll just pick the Bloodthirsty Marauder. It's got the most health. Gotta prevent all the damage we can, and so we're looking for just literally anything that could be big enough to block a Legion Saboteur and survive. Didn't come across. We wasted all of our luck on that previous game hitting hitting the unit there. Alright, what you got for us, Castaway? Gonna go with the Sandsworn Amulet on this one, just for the health benefits, and then these summon effects don't work with the Domination and the Balladeers, so let's just pick up the Iron Harbinger. We might run into an Ephemeral to where that's relevant. Probably not, but maybe. Opponent running into a bit of the awkward draw syndrome like we had in that last game. Definitely don't want to be spending turn 3 with a pokey stick pass. Alright, so I'm going to lead in and just go ahead and get excited, the Bandle City Mayor. We're going to be playing a burn spell, and we're going to be playing Jax this turn. But by taking down the Bandle City Mayor first, it gets us back to the even board, so his attack isn't any good. But if we come in and play Jax, and he picked up a 2-drop off of the Bandle City Mayor, he's able to add in the 2-drop. Now we probably have to trade away our Jax. So I feel like we might as well just go ahead and remove him. I'm going to use the Get Excited. I don't think we want to discard too much of our hand here at the moment, right? We can discard the timelines, but I'm looking to hang on to the combat reel to discard to the parts made whole, or even if we can discard Jax's, sure, if we can discard Jax's Kathian thing, that's all well and good, but we might need to burst out this blocker with the parts made whole, and I want to keep the requirements together for it.
Got more scars than years, and got a lot of years.
All right, dude didn't want to attack directly into Jax. This is a pretty decent spot for a parts made whole. It's looking even better now that we don't have any other plays to make. Interesting with the Hookmaster actually turning up. I think we probably still just want to open attack here, but it's like, what's opponent realistically gonna play that makes this Hookmaster feel bad? And there's not a lot, right? Is he gonna play Poppy? I don't care. Is he gonna play Ziggs? I don't care. Like, this is feeling pretty decent to me at this point. I'm gonna go with the defensive one in the Pot of Pain, and then give my supported ally lifesteal. That should be enough to finish the game off.
Catch and release only. Do you kill everyone you beat?
Pretty good spot. Say your prayers to RN Jesus. See what he can do for you. See what he's got to offer. So Jax doesn't get the bonus yet, but he should be flipping in the middle of this combat. And yeah, I wasn't surprised to take it down there. Opponent had that super awkward draw. Again, playing Poppy Ziggs, you're trying to really flood your first 6 mana with units and then play Poppy, right? So if you can play three 1-drops or whatever, and then play Ziggs and then play Poppy, that's kind of your goal. Your goal is to not go into turn 3 and play a Pokey Stick. And so a bit of an awkward one for opponent there. Probably had a lot of Decimates and Poppies and Nox and Fervors in hand. All right, so let's hang on to the Make It Rain and the Jagged Butcher. Again, like as we saw in that first matchup with this, the Spirits Unleashed can be pretty good, but I don't want to hold on to that as something we're not really going to be able to play until turn 4 or turn 5. You really need to be coming down and being super interactive in the early game, and it just has a lot of opportunities to where that just doesn't happen. And so we'll let him hang out at home for the moment. I'm gonna keep the Shell Shocker at home as well, right? We're not punching in the damage this turn. We're not gonna get that Gangplank level up for the round because he's just gonna block. And so let's at least leave the Shell Shocker back. See if he now drops like a 3/2 or something that gives us a little bit better opportunity to block here. There you go, there you go. The pros make it rain. Coming in strong. Oof. Give an oof to that one. So I am going to attack with both units on this one. I don't suspect he wants to block the Jagged Butcher with the House Spider. We're probably going to get the trade here, but I do want to guarantee that we get the damage in so that we can get the Father Fury going. So we'll go ahead and take that trade there. He's also getting a little bit closer to his Poppy turn, and so if we can limit that interaction, I'd be okay with it.
From all the regions we are one.
What you got, Father Fury? Elixir of Iron? Very relevant, very relevant. Okay, the Jagged Butcher. We're not going to be able to get the flip for the Gangplank, right? He's another spot to where he's 2 turns away, but we can at least slam some of this stuff down on the board. not opposed to dropping an Elixir of Iron somewhere this turn just to keep the mana spend good.
Just need a second.
Let's see how this lines up. We're definitely blocking 3 units this round, but there's a very probable chance he won't attack with Bandle City Mayor. People don't like to attack with the Mayor, and so
Say your farewells.
see how that goes. Alright, not bad.
One for you.
See if something turns up with our draw to deal with this 1 health Ziggs. I assume that we're going to just be we're just going to be playing Gangplank and attacking, but let's see. Sejuani, very relevant for next turn.
Neither the flames nor the depths can claim me, Captain.
So as this goes, it's tough. Like now that he's tapped out, I'm fine to just attack with Father Fury, but I didn't want to be in a spot to where I want to attack with the Gangplank as well. He'll probably block with the Yordle Ranger. Going into next turn and letting him get the free attack into the Powder Keg just does not feel good. So let's send the Gangplank in as well. Holy shit, he just takes it? Ow, wow. You've unlocked a wow from me, my dude. Wowzers unlocked. I mean, that bonus health isn't that big of a deal. Wow. That's wild. Do we actually just take this? Now that we have Sejuani in hand and we can Sejuani the Yordle Ranger on its second attack? I think so.
Pain is nothing.
So he still has good attacks with it, right? I guess it determines if he wants to take down the Powder Keg or not, right? I assume probably want to take the Powder Keg down. It's a very scary space to have a 4-tick Sejuani Gangplank staring you down with the Powder Keg on board. If we get the 3 damage AoE, he's just so super smoked. And so I could see him wanting to hook the Powder Keg with a real unit, but he also wants to attack with this Yordle Ranger to deliver the stats to his team. Curious to see what he does here.
Enough stalling.
We have a pretty high health total.
For the Empire. Make the Empire proud.
Okay. We do need to, the thing to have in your head here is you need to prevent all of this damage. If we can get into a space to where we're ever able to
But the big ones are,
like Sejuani flip on one of his attacks, right? If he attacks with everybody next turn and we get the Sejuani in front, he's pretty hosed at that point. And so
I see an opening.
we just need to not die and give ourselves a little bit more time. He does leave the Powder Keg up. Again, that's very, very dangerous, very bold.
I'll cut my name into you, you poor thing.
Show them our teeth.
So my concern for the round is losing Sejuani to a... hang on, we got to remember his units are all about to grow, right? I don't want to... Oh, the stats are already delivered, right? Oh, grant all allies with equal or less power than me. Oh, he doesn't have any bonus power. Gotcha. Well, my concern here is that we're going to block the 4/4 with Sejuani, and he's going to have a Nox and Fervor. So we could look to, say, block
Show them our teeth.
the bird and then put Father Fury in front so that Sejuani will stay up. And so he can look to Nox and Fervor over onto the Gangplank, which is a bit unfortunate, but getting to preserve our Sejuani is what I think is important here. And the bummer there with our Father Fury is that as we're like looking to flip next turn, as it stands right now, we have to draw a card that's going to help us flip. But if we have the elusive out in front, it can make the first attack in, get the damage in because it's not blocked, and then say Sejuani can overwhelm from there. And so as our champions are taking damage in this space, if we look towards the next turn, we could have both Father Fury and then the second Father Fury on the board. So the first one hits, flips both of our champions. The second one hits. That's going to cause the Sejuani activation to flash freeze the team. And then we're kind of off to the races from there. But very interesting. He's got a Nox and Fervor in hand. He was considering fervoring away a unit. I think he realized that he can fervor from the Yordle Ranger onto something else and still be safe. And the parlay turns up. So we need to just directly send this to face, right? If we think that he has a Nox and Fervor in hand, we can't parlay an Inventive Chemist and then have the Chemist get Nox and Fervored because the parlay won't deal any damage. So it's going to send it directly to the Nugget, right to the face place, and then we're going to be able to follow up with Father Fury after that. Might end up losing our Gangplank in this sequence, but that's just way too risky to send the parlay at one of these chemists or send it at the Demolitionist. Alright, so there's the Sejuani flip.
For your lives.
Now we'll drop our Father Fury, see if we don't just hit a back-breaking one-cost spell. It'd be really sweet if we did. See if he can't end the game for us. What you got? 3 sisters? That's a big one. That's a big one. Might just finish this off with Sejuani now, depending on how he blocks. I mean, we can entomb, right? You can entomb the Yordle Ranger, so Sejuani just does the 6 directly to face. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. There it is. Rip it and roll it, my dude. Nice. Ooh, that's close. That's close. Gee.
We survive.
Glad we brought that one back. That's a tall order. Like I know we've 4-0'd Poppy at this point, but it's a tough deck. You can run into those draws like you see with that Annie Gen deck, where they just say, "Oops, I win," and so it was a little concerning that the Annie game was just such a blowout. This is if you get into a tight one against Poppy Ziggs, it's certainly quite losable. But took it down. GG. Mark it a W. I'm gonna restart everything. See if we can't get the tracker back up. All right, off we go. 2 wins, 0 losses. See how long it takes us to convert this into 2 wins and 2 losses. It's ruthless. Ruthless in these rumbles. That's the way it goes, man. I'm prepared though. I've gotten so many of them. I've gotten so many of them. I've learned to overcome the feelings. It's tough though. Typically, it's all Masters players in these things. I have to imagine that there's some of the matchmaking that people bitch about, right? If you go and read on Twitter on the day of a Runeterra Open, there'll be a lot of the higher tier pros bitching because they didn't get to play against enough bronze level players, and you typically see at least everybody in these rumbles is in Masters, and so I suspect that they have a bit of that matchmaking in place, to where there is something tied into your MMR in terms of who you get paired against. And I've spoken about it before. I think that that's fine. To me, like the idea of what are we up here? What are we up against here, real quick? That's a Twisted Fate Katarina. This is going to be a full control lineup. Whenever I see these, like, I'm typically okay with Echo Jinx. Like, I know that it's a strong matchup against a lot of what we're doing, but it always just feels like a tier 1.5 deck and not something worth actually banning out. The Katarina Twisted Fate deck should be like a Riptide Rex deck, which I feel like we might be too slow against, but I think Annie Ezreal Caitlyn is going to be in a real similar boat, but be the better version of this. And so I'm going to ban out the Annie Ezreal, and then of course leave up the Echo Jinx. I just think it's going to be a little bit stronger than the Katarina, but I don't feel like this is going to be a good set of matchups for us. But no, there's if you want to have the kind of round by round by round thing, it's fine. That's a completely valid way to run a tournament. It's the way that they've run Magic tournaments for literally 30 years, and I'm sure any kind of event like this, like chess or something, probably needs to run on a very similar system. But if you want to have this ability to be like, oh yeah, play anytime you want throughout the course of the day, you have to have like some concessions in terms of matchmaking. And so if you want to have like 35-minute queues, then that's probably okay, right? If you're in that space to where you're, say, 7-0 and you're approaching the end of the day and there's just not very many people playing, then you just have to kind of suck it up and deal with it as much as I can say. And that's kind of one of the concessions, is that some of the matchmaking may not pair you against exactly the same ranked players in terms of win rate and loss rate, and it may not pair you against players in terms of like MMR skill. But if you want to be able to tier that off to where, say, oh, well, bust your 6-0, we have to pair you against a 5-1, it makes it a little bit more reasonable that they'd have to add in a couple of additional criteria to make it fit. And I know it's a real hot topic of discussion in terms of the higher tier players, but at least in my consideration, I think it's a fair concession. And so, anyways, back up to the Echo Jinx. We had a choice here between the Pot of Pain or to go for a combat reel. I just went ahead and went for the Pot of Pain. This is a fairly strong unit that we have in the Bandle Commando. I'd like to see it come out and just survive against the likes of Mystic Shots and cheap burn spells. And now that it's getting to come in and soak up the double Scrying Sands to keep our Wandering Shepherd from, or to keep our Bandle Commando from generating the unit, feels pretty good. It was pretty good to see a lot of those predicts just get sent off into the nether. We'll have to see if opponent has a Echo immediately, right? That didn't seem to me to be like an exactly strong enough attack to want to be blowing your wad on, but I admittedly don't play a bunch of Echo Jinx, and so maybe that is pretty reasonable in here. And so he's one away. I don't think we're going to be able to get in front of the Echo this turn, but the time trick isn't free yet. So we'll see if we can't have an attack come in and not lose out on the freeness. But he needs to predict right now, because we're showing that we're probably just not going to block. The third Scrying Sands, those things are all out of the way. He got his surprise drop border on the last one. Kind of is what it is, but this one's a bit unfortunate. Didn't have a way to jump in front of the Echo. But hopefully we can start to pop off here. We'll have the Grandfather Fae into Grandfather Fae into a couple of Alcats. Those are fairly meaty units. They do... Oh, fucking Hexite Crystals. God, I hate this card so much. They do, die to these drop orders, but it's a pretty good start for what we can do on these upcoming turns. So are we going to have to pivot, though, now that he's hit the fucking card? This thing is so dumb. Well, I think our 3 damage, our 3 attack owls are just going to have to be good enough at the moment. So he doesn't have to Hexite Crystal until we're in combat. The only thing that kind of, stops and shuts that down a little bit is having the Alcats on the board, right? Because they have Spell Shield. I mean, I don't think we're going to be able to even... There's no real reason to be attacking with these things. Alright, we'll send in the Commando. That's as much as I'll offer up. We can start to do some nice stuff on these following turns with putting the Bandle Gunners on board, but as it stands right now, not going in. And then the thing I'm going to look to be doing on this next turn is going to be, say, blocking Echo and then playing Group Shot on our own unit so that he doesn't get to strike. So if we can kill off our own dude. Oh, Hate Spike. Much better than Calling Strike.
This is my future.
So let's see. How do we want to lead in with this? I mean, I don't want to get super invested in this. It's like if we want to try and take down the Echo and stop all of his stuff, We can hate spike off of an Owlcat in the back line, but I think this is okay so far. We're not out here just like running into the dumb thing. The right, we're not out here just running into the rally.
Just you and me,
And
Fishbones.
Jinx turns up.
And them.
That's a different story. Jinx is something that's a little more worrisome. Considering trying to take her down, we'd have to use one of our spell shielded owls. I like the owls in the sense that we're getting pretty close to trying to blow the opponent up with Atrocity, and so having the spell shielded unit can be pretty strong. But let's pop off this hate spike and see where it gets us. Jinx has been removed. Picked up a Challenger Husk. Okay. Interesting. As we're looking to add the Bandle Gunners to the board, I'm thinking to myself if we want to actually wait for it, or if we want to drop an Owlcat and try an attack after his Echo. Nope, opponent says, I ain't dealing with that, bro. I ain't dealing with that. I think we do want to add the Owlcat now just to make our, like, we get the extra mana out of the Mayor and then cheapen up our Bandle Gunners. That sounds legit to me. Ooh, Hate Spike was a good draw. We ultimately have to worry about the oops, you killed all my units, here's a rally thing. whatever that one's called. Parallel Convergence. Alright, let's see if he literally has it all. He hasn't gotten any predicts since the Echo came on board. Right, he played Echo that shuffled the stuff in, but I don't think he's predicted since. So, hopefully we don't have to worry about too much here. Okay, take us to 5. A little dangerous letting it just roll through like this, but
You best believe I don't.
the cards I'm worried about, like I don't want to be trading out units here and then letting him just get the rally and swing back in with a bunch of dudes. So we're ideally hitting for 10 this turn, right? We got 3 from the Commando, 6 from the Bandle Gunners, another 1 from the now Challenger Commando. So we're short of the lethals. It's going to take us a couple more turns of work to get there, but
Just
and
you
Jinx,
and me,
yeah,
Fishbones.
that was the scary part of the angle we took. He's got a Jinx in hand, right? We just die. We just die to the get excited plus other thing. So maybe we should have blocked a little bit heavier in there. We can look to maybe Atrocity Jinx, depending on how fast or slow the opponent's next turn is. But, ooh, I'm scared now. Ooh, Tristana turns up though. Oh, we don't have the mana for it all. Fuck. F. Alright, at least send in the get excited at the face. We have to have this Atrocity work. And so, let's kill an ally. I mean, it doesn't matter which one we pick as long as it just doesn't matter, right? If he has the burn spell for the unit, he could just send it to face. Just needs to be able to deal. Well, he's already played all of his -2 attack things, but that's the other card that would be problematic. Yeah. I guess that was too greedy. We could have blocked some of that stuff, but okay. That one's on me, I guess. It's just it's such a spot to where like that damage isn't that scary. The thing that's scary to me in that space is when you come in and block all of the units, and then your stuff dies, then you try to attack back with your impact units and they all die in combat, and then your opponent does the oops, my guy died, let's rally and summon them all back kind of thing. Like that play is the one that's a little scarier to me. When they're like, oops, oops, I just resummoned my board. And it's, I guess it's not as likely in that space since they hadn't been predicting. Maybe we should have just put a little bit more credit in terms of the burn spells coming up. Or I wonder, maybe the safer thing would have been to have fallen to 7. I know that we still would have died in that game, right? If we fell to 7, he had the burn spell, and the jinx. But if you're at 7, you can survive a get excited plus a death rocket, and that might have been a safer space to be in. But reasonable enough to get hot and heavy with our units on the board here. Not too much removal that I really care about that the opponent can throw at these. If we don't play the unit and he has Make It Rain, it sucks. If we play the unit and he has the removal for Teemo, I don't really care. I think at the end of the day, that was all a pretty safe and straightforward sequence. The House Spiders are fairly annoying, though. Getting him a lot of blockers for the upcoming turns. Not a particularly strong predict. We have to take one of these improvised units. How greedy do we want to get, though? Can we just slam a Tristana at this point? Like, he's playing Bilgewater Noxus, and so he's going to have kind of a combo attack at her. I think it's reasonable to throw down this early, especially as we still have Hate Spike in hand, so if he wants to say Nox and Fervor, Tristana, we're a little bit safer. And I expect a lot of this deck's removal to be like Ravenous Flock. And so I know that you can cast a burn spell onto Tristana and still get the Ravenous Flock going, but she seems like a reasonable thing here. I don't want to wait until turn 7 and just play Tristana Atrocity. That feels it feels a little dangerous to me.
Hey, hurry up so I can shoot you again.
Hurry up so I can shoot you again. You tell him, Trist.
Deal me in.
He goes for the red card, and so I would most assuredly say that Tristana's about to get popped by a Nox and Fervor, not a Nox and Fervor, a Ravenous Flock. I think this is. We just have to let that go. We do still get to add the Hookmaster in and pick up the stats before we attack. We probably want the Overwhelm one. If we're going to have to say, okay, this is my equipment for the game, probably want that one. Then we can still attack with Grumble Slug. Everybody except Vandal City Mayor. Actually, could probably attack with the Mayor as well. Let's just send it all. The thing I'm curious with here is if we can actually drop a group shot before, like he puts his removal on the stack and then we can group shot and kill whatever unit's blocking the Mayor. Oh, he chains. What the F? Why wouldn't he kill the Mayor? You've officially been given a what the F. what the F just happened here? He just didn't, like, why wouldn't you ever put the House Spider in front of the Mayor? Okay, well, we'll take it. We'll take it. Alright, Aloof, I hope you're ready to get on board. Make him discard that Riptide Rex. It has to be a Riptide Rex deck, right? I'm pretty sure I'm right, at least in that sense. See if he discards it here.
But our stuff did it.
I have Nagakaboros is the most expensive one in hand. 5 mana spell.
They're afraid. They should be.
Hook, line, and sucker.
Let's try and get in front of this. Oh, ugh. That's tough. He's just gonna Blade's Edge. This was a mistake on our end. I wanted to get in front of the Katarina, and I was thinking in my head, is like, well, if he has to play a burn spell, then that's kind of okay. But like he definitely has the burn spell, right? There's a 100% chance he's playing something else. Oh, he's gonna prize fight our Tristana down. That recalls the Katarina. Gotcha. I dig it. I haven't seen that Katarina interaction yet. Huh.
They'll never know what killed them.
Dig it. I like what you're about. Ooh, spell shield on the husk. Don't have any good units at this point, but could be relevant in an upcoming turn. And I'm leaning towards just putting the fish-a-whack on the husk and then playing the shepherd so that it gets all of the good stats here. Yeah, our hand sucks at this point, so why not? Why not?
Keep up.
Just got to get a little bit more going here. So I'm going to put our Wandering Shepherd onto the aloof. I hit a fix in 5,000. I want the Vandal City Mayor's just open to getting Ravenous flocked, and so I don't want to invest in the Mayor just to have him die to the easy removal spell. Then the fix in 5,000 was a good pickup, right? Again, if we worry about the damage being applied to our units, that's a big one.
We live here. You can't do this. Why are you here?
All right. The flock comes in. Opponent falls to 5. We've got this nice Atrocity lined up in hand with a 5 power unit on the board. This is a very dangerous space. We really need to see opponent spend a bunch of mana before we go after something like this, but it's nice to have it. Ooh, that might have just been enough mana. It doesn't have any damage on it right now, so I can't remember. It's been so long since Ravenous Flock was a thing. I can't remember if he's able to if he's able to just like drop the spell immediately, right? I don't think you can play it like Disintegrate. I think you have to physically have a damaged unit on board to come out and target. But I honestly don't remember. Alright, we'll switch it up a little bit. We at least have damage-based units on board now, and then as we roll into this next turn, we have the mana to both Atrocity and Puzzling Signpost, so it's a little bit safer in terms of us at least having a burn or a protective spell should he try and kill off our aloof. Alright, well here's 5 to the Nugget. Let's see if he starts chaining stuff off. Nope. Huh. You just say, yeah, you got me. I did not expect that. That's weird. That's weird. I'm really curious if I'm kind of misreading what the opposing deck is actually doing here. Like, it strikes me... It's interesting, right? The thing that you typically see with Riptide Rex decks are... There's 2 ways that it's kind of happening right now. You either use Tybalak out of the Annie cards, right? So you're using Ravenbloom Conservatory, you play Tybalak, it makes your skills deal 1 more damage, and then as you play Riptide Rex, he does a shitload. Or you're looking to use Condense, and so you play Riptide Rex, Condense Riptide Rex, and then play another copy of it. But it didn't, I mean, this deck, I don't know. It has to be a Riptide Rex deck. Alright, go us. A bit of a weak hand in the sense that this double Get Excited isn't that great, but we did manage to find a concurrent timelines in our opener, and so... Problem number 1 unlocked, achieved and fixed, so we can just draw into a couple units, hopefully we can capitalize. There's the Conservatory. Okay, I feel much more confident about this being the Riptide Rex thing. Alright. right, and so here, a couple of options. Both of these are good. I want a defensive one to start off the earlier part of the game here. I think I'm going to lead off with this Pot of Pain. As we look to play another unit later, like I like the idea of hooking up a Pot of Pain to a different unit after this junk construct dies. So looks good there. And then reasonable pickup with the junk construct. Very powerful last breath with the mysterious portals. We got a triple get excited hand. So close to just burning the opponent down. And I'm leaning towards the combat reel because our hand is so spell heavy at this point. So let's come in with that one. Mighty Poro with the Overwhelm is the best of the bunch there. Everybody's bigger than the opponent's unit on board. Pretty strong open attack. Alright, let's come in with the unit. Continue on. Do you want to continue on with the Fishawak? I feel like the Sandsworn Amulet's probably just better here. Like I don't envision there being a lot of units that the opponent can actually block from this. And now the Merciless Hunter says F you, bud. I think we need to go with the Scarthane Stefan. It's very tempting to just pick up that 6 attack Fearsome. It should be pretty tough for the opponent to deal with, but it's very easy to kill in the middle of combat with just a spell or two.
Hold it, partner.
Alright, Steve comes in. Not a problem. We do, unfortunately, miss out on that mana. I was counting on our combat reel on the Mighty Poro to give us the extra point of mana to unlock our Get Excited. But I mean, I must say our board is quite strong at this point anyways. Opponents right at the verge of just being dead. So, no complaints there. Need to have all of our units die so that we can pick up these equipment and discard them to stuff. I'm gonna dig for a unit real quick. Jax is a fantastic one. Now I think we're in much more of that space to where if we pick up a unit, or if as soon as the units die, we're able to just start discarding the equipment to our burn spells. And I have to imagine we're gonna hit for at least like 9 on this next turn. If we hit for 6, that's enough. So if 2 units are able to punch in, realistically 3 should be enough. I think we can assemble enough cards in hand to discard before it would really matter. Like as he kills off these cards, we're going to get the equipment back. But even if we're in a spot to where we attack, he, I don't know, plays Steel Tempest on all of our units, I think we're still in pretty good shape. That would be the situation to where we attack, he takes no damage, but doesn't actually kill any of our units. I think by drawing 2 cards over the course of the next 2 turns, we'll be okay. All right, combat time.
We'll make quick work of you.
V stands for violence. She says it so much. Why are you so violent, Vi? Who's this girl on the left? Oh, that's Jinx, isn't it? I watched the Arcane show, but it's been quite a bit of time. To survive the Undercity, can't be afraid to get your hands a little dirty. I hear you. Alright, something coming in. I think the easy one for opponents, the Ravenous Flock directly onto Mighty Poro. He says, nah, it's too much, dude. That's too much bust. Well done. GG. On to the next one.
Winning never gets old.
I think that's one of the matches that makes this format kind of interesting and why I like playing the kind of good decks lineups, right? And so as you kind of like level what you expect to happen in these things, you say, okay, well, I want to be like the best control decks in the game. there's like these spaces to where there's like a range of control decks, right? And so you have, say, a Nora deck. Nora most certainly is a control deck. We'll just say Nora Noxus, like Nora Swain or something, is kind of a starting point. And so that's very good against all of the aggro decks in the format. And so you say, okay, well, I want to beat Nora. So how do I assemble a deck that beats Nora? It's just got to be a little bit slower, right? And so that's where you start to see like Seraphine and the Back Alley Bar really start to pop off. That's where you see Rise start to pop off. But the interesting thing that you have happen in Eternal that didn't happen in Standard is then after that you start to have decks like the Sundisk. And the Sundisk style decks and Rise style decks get into this really weird spot to where like the Sundisk, I think, just can't beat Rise, right? It doesn't interact fast enough. It has to go on the Rock Bear attack plan super early, and it just doesn't really work out. But then like the Sundisk murders a big swath of the control decks in the meta, and so it gets interesting as the kind of deck you want to play. And so as far as these goes, I'm just going to ban out Jinx Draven. I think the discard aggro deck is my preferred ban in terms of the triple aggro deck lineup. Then Pirates after it, but we're hoping we can manage otherwise. But no, it's always interesting to me in that sense. In StarCraft, this used to happen in StarCraft Brood War. There was this point in the professional scene to where if you're not familiar with it, you start with like one base, you have one command center where you gather resources, and then you look to expand out to a second set of resources so you get more resources. And what started to happen was there's kind of a tipping point as to where if you try to go for those additional resources too early and your opponent went for a big army, then their army is just going to come in and kill you. But if you survive that initial attack, then you should be able to get stronger than your opponent because you're going to have more resources than they do. And so it's kind of like playing a ramp deck to a degree, right? If you're able to say, okay, well, I'm going to play my Catalyst of the Aeons, you're getting the opportunity to build up board and have a stronger board. But if you don't immediately take advantage of that, I'm going to have more resources than you, so I have more mana gems. And so what essentially happened at StarCraft was the pros got into this kind of like weird sequence to where they knew that the opponent was going to build their second base very early, and so they decided that they would build two bases really early. And then the meta kind of continued to evolve, and people were like, well, I know that opponent's going to build two bases early, so I'm going to build three bases early. And it got into this like really, really weird like leveling match to where it doesn't happen in the normal world of like ladder games, but like these professionals were in such like a tight-knit group that knew each other so well and knew the tendencies of the other players that they were able to have these kind of things come together. It's very interesting. But nonetheless, back to the action here. I'm looking to just get as wide as we can against Poppy Ziggs here. So I'm leading off with the Bandle Commando. It's just kind of the stronger unit at that point. And now I'm going to look to get a Grandfather Fae and a 1-drop on the board. And so I think we'll just go ahead and start off with the Bandle Commando attack. And then move on with these. We could actually... I don't think I want to play the Grandfather Fae, right? The attack power doesn't matter a ton at this point. Like, if opponent plays Ziggs right here, then we could kind of consider it in the sense that we're going to want to have three attacks so we can do a 1 damage group shot and kill a Ziggs. But now that opponents play Bandle City Mayor, I think I'm okay to just play it a little slow. Like, we don't have the second spell at this point, which is a bit awkward, but I think this is fine. I'm curious if we shouldn't have dropped group shot already. That's kind of the big one here in the sense that... oh, well, that's a created unit, right? We dropped the Hungry Owlcat that was created off the Bandle Commando, so now we can do the Tenor of Terror. Okay, I am on board. Ready to party. We got all the blockers. Blockers for days, they say.
You will sing.
I hate you.
This is Mama's house.
Alright. Very straightforward. We kill off his entire board. We have 3 units survive. We get to kill the Poro sled with the group shot. We should be super far ahead at this point. Good stuff. Good stuff. Who are we bringing in now? The Bandle City Mayor seems reasonable. I'm looking at, say, playing the Mayor. Do we actually want the Loping Telescope here? I don't think we ever want Arena Kingpin, but the Kingpin's interesting in that he can block and kill both Poppy and Ziggs. But I'm curious how much we actually need to grind here. Let's just take the Telescope. And then I'm going to put the Wandering Shepherd onto the Bandle Commando, see if we can't pick up something strong in this space. I'm going to go with the Pot of Pain. Lets it be a little bit more defensive on the upcoming turn. There's a Ziggs. Says, LOL, dude, you didn't, you didn't take the 4-attack guy. I think we're still in pretty good shape, but... Ziggs trying to abuse us. Okay.
To the mountain.
And an aloof. Very strong. Should be able to spike out a decimate. Curious to see if opponent lands on Poppy this turn, though. If they play Poppy, we're kind of stuck playing the Telescope. Just to see what turns up. We probably want to play the Telescope. Well, it's such this awkward spot. I guess we only have 2 more spaces on our board, right? And so if we play the Bandle Gunners here, we can still follow up with another card. Let's do this. Let's play the Owlcat first. We can manage if opponent attacks right now. It's not the end of the world. Now we can get the Bandle Gunners on board and Pokey Stick. Pokey Stick's probably going to be a little bit too slow, but we do at least have 6 units on the board to come in and block everything. But right, it'd be kind of nice to Pokey Stick a Saboteur or something before it gets to get the Poppy stats. Ew. That's a bit of a bummer. So he's out of mana at this point. It's going to be whether or not we want to add a unit to the board or something else. The thing that kind of sucks with this is we don't have the 3 attack units. We let our board stay kind of small. So Poppy's a little bit more problematic than I want her to be. All right. Let's just add another unit. Ooh, the Grandfather Fae's block is just so bad though. We should have played the Pokey Stick. We might have picked up a 1-drop or something. It's just a Teemo in our deck as the 1, but our Grandfather Fae was not going to be a good blocker this turn.
I'm attacking. We got this. Let's make cookies.
So are we willing to fall to 12? I think it's gonna have to be okay. This is just such a bad spot. We definitely approached this poorly in the size of our units. But I think we need to keep the Bandle City Mayor just for the aspect of the mana next turn. Okay. Hopefully 12's healthy enough. It's not like too hard of an uphill battle, right? We have plenty of dudes to just spew down on the board. The Grandfather Fae is going to make another unit. The Telescope can make another unit. We have some options in terms of just getting stats down. Let's go ahead and send in the Gunners. I would say this is a no block. This block's fine. We can still get in front of Ziggs without Ziggs being able to kill off the Gunners with his 1 damage ping. So that's good. That felt like a bit of a win. Sending pokey sticks to the face, huh? I guess we can help him draw a card, but let's lead out with the telescope. Interesting. The invasive Hydravine is such a high-powered unit here. It doesn't seem that high risk, high reward, and just like too high risk in the sense that I think I'm gonna go for it. I feel like there's just a good chance we'll get to play it next turn. If we get the big dude down and the extra encroaching mist just to block something. Oh, yeah, it's so big.
We made it. Yay.
But our stuff didn't.
Bring in the aloof. There goes a decimate. Good deal. All right, the round is ending. Invasive Hydravine. Who knew? Who knew we were playing such shenanigans today? You say, what up, Vigio? Vigio, where you at, my dude? Phew, I don't miss seeing that guy running around.
The few for the many.
All right, we got our full board. So hopefully no more pirouettes. That's the scary point. But at least if there is another pirouette, we can add another unit to the board. We have the Grandfather Fae, the Teemo. We have the means of putting down another unit and still being able to he's just on the pure burn plan now. We can put down another unit and still be able to cast a pokey stick. Do we have to worry? Let's do this. Let's Pot of Pain onto the Hydravine so it doesn't die to pokey stick. If it gets hit by a Noxan Fervor, I think that's okay. Yeah, he's just directly trying to burn us out. So I think what's going to happen is we'll attack, he'll block the Hydravine, he'll block the Bandle Gunners, and then we'll try an Atrocity to face and see if we can't get out in front of it. Okay. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Was we had the turn to where we could have blocked with the Bandle City Mayor and didn't do it. I always regret it so hard whenever we get in these spots, and I don't just prevent every single point of damage. It's like I know the strategy, the mindset that you have to be in against this match, and it's like you'll see yourself be at like 12, and you're like, yeah, maybe it'll be okay. Maybe I don't have to do it, and I regret it literally every single time when we when we just don't take the damage prevention plan. All right, though. Let's see if we can't recover against pirates.
Reporting in.
Just need a second.
I'll scout ahead.
I was thinking if we want to actually play Teemo, I'm willing to throw him away in front of Lit, just like pretty much any unit. But you're trying to think if it's like, well, would I prefer to play Grandfather Fae plus Group Shot to potentially stop some of his units in that manner? And, probably not. Probably not.
No one's the wiser.
I'll do better.
Coming at us good.
Vandal scouts are never
All right, blockers deployed.
just trying to help.
Blockers deployed. Need to find a cheap play. That's not it. That's not it. Guy Wandering Shepherd, what you gonna do for us? I'm leaning towards the Sandsworn Amulet. Like, there's probably not like a 1 health unit that this is gonna be able to get in front of, but I think this is fine. And I'm okay to just go ahead and send it in. Like, this feels like the way that this hand is developed. If we run into something like Pirouette, we're just going to get smoked. And so I like having this opportunity to get in front of his unit a little bit early. So now he's probably going to open attack. We can group shot into the rear guard. I don't think we're going to get the chance to outcat.
No pay.
Perhaps we will. This is savage. Just way too much expensive in hand right now. Alright. Well, we can at least equip the Owlcat, get it in front of Misfortune, so we don't have to spend the burn spell on her, but this game's gonna just be done. That's a very, very unintelligent way to put down your supports. I hate saying stuff like that as we're about to get smashed, but opening up your units to get hit with one-cost spells is not the way you want to go. You'd preferably put that damage onto Jagged Butcher, or more preferably, if you say, what unit is Bust gonna block? Oh, he's gonna block my Misfortune. You just put the damage directly onto Misfortune. But we're so fucked in this game with how slow our draw was.
It's a beast, Mama.
Damn. Well, that's what we get, man. That's what we get. Like, if you look at the Annie Jen matchup from earlier, to where we took down Annie, where we got just like completely smoked by Annie Jen with a not spectacular draw, but then we were able to play well against the Ziggs and carry through. Like, that's the kind of difference maker, right? Is as you play against these aggro lineups, you're going to run into draws that just completely smoke you, or you're going to run into draws like we just had, to where you have double Bandle Gunner's Atrocity against Pirates and they open with 3 1-drops. But you're looking to have that kind of backup space to just take on the next game. But we messed up that game 1, and it's so critical to not mess up games like that. Just letting that game slip away took away our oops, I lost to a ridiculous draw game. That's kind of a bummer. But it was going to be a tough lineup anyways. Like, I'm surprised he didn't ban out Gangplank Sejuani, but it was a little rough. Whew, that sucks though, man. That sucks. That's what you got to be able to do, though. I feel like we played pretty well. I feel like the only like big mistake, I'm sure if a higher level player was evaluating our play, we've made many mistakes along the way, but I feel like the only real like high tier mistake that we made was that game. And we were even thinking about it in that Poppy Ziggs game, as to where we're like, well, do we want to keep the unit, or do we want to just prevent all the damage that we can? And we chose to take the damage, and it bit us in the end. But the vengeance match is here. Let's see if we can't perhaps take down the aggro lineup this time, or if Tiger Shadow is just going to give us the business and say, I got the best of you, Bust. I rocked your world hard. Alright, let's hang on to the Grandfather Fae, see if we can't find some cheap plays to go along with it. Group Shot was a wonderful addition to the hand. Decent stuff against Ziggs. I'd say lots of aggro coming at us. Opponent kept 3 on that hand.
Another day in the field.
So we'll drop in Teemo. Like, if we're gonna like really be in that mindset of I'm curious if we should even play the Teemo here. The thing that I start to think about is, if opponent plays Legion Saboteur, we want to be able to group shot it instead of block it. And if opponent, just adds a 1-drop to the board, then so let's say, like, on turn 1, we just pass. Opponent plays a unit, and then we have the information, right? We know that he's played Inventive Chemist, so we play Teemo, and then we're good to go from there. But if we're in the spot to where opponent does play the Saboteur, then we can just immediately hit it with the group shot. Now, it's like, I guess rolling into turn 2, opponent is probably going to be playing more cards, and if they just open attack on turn 2, we're going to probably feel pretty good about it. But it's an interesting way to kind of look at that. All right, let's see what happens here. I'm going to add in the Hungry Owlcat. If we get a Owlcat attack into the Pigeon, I'm okay with it. If we just have to end our turn attacking with Teemo only, that's okay. Sure. And then we'll have the blockers for everything. We can play Grumble Slug next turn. maybe make a little bit of this magic happen. Vandal City Mayor. Okay. That's not a poppy. I did the mathematics on that one. There's definitely not a poppy coming at us. I don't worry about that nearly as much. And so I'm going to go ahead and just pokey stick down the Saboteur so it can't attack in for that point of damage. And then his attacks here, you know, I can't imagine he's happy trying to put damage onto the Vandal City Mayor. He moves away from that. Add in the Grumble Slug. See how it goes. Bring in the squad. Okay, I'm fine to lose out on the Grandfather Fae at this point. It's we don't have any owls in our hand, and so it's not a super strong keep. We actually kind of running out of stuff to do here, and so let's wait and see what turns up. I'm gonna come in with the pokey stick. The idea that I have with this round is that we're gonna play the Bandle Commando, and then try and draw an owl, and then play the owl, and dropping in.
Mama's home.
Why would he play the Conservatory right now? But bringing in the Commando lets us get these additional units on the board. Interesting. So he just has to have a handful of like burn spells at this point, right? Like decimates and stuff? Why is he not adding units to the board and going on this weird Conservatory path?
Explosives primed.
Has to just be a real clunker in here.
Time to bust out some combustion.
Alright, but let's add in the Bandle Gunners. I don't feel like we get too much value this round. Playing the aloof and making him just discard a decimate to draw a new card. And so, I think this is good. I think this is good. His attacks are all booty right now. Well, let's see. I assume that there's gonna be a Nox and Fervor coming in from somewhere, and then we might be able to hate spike out of this. And if he just doesn't have it, I think this is still a bit of a win. You can, in that spot, look to, say, block the Stone Stackers with the little bird, and then hate spike it into the separate unit, but
Mama is a beast,
that doesn't
Mama.
strike me as being necessary at this point. But we are out here taking damage in the ways that we said we shouldn't be. So maybe it's a little more problematic than I'm giving it credit for.
Elf, that's not ours.
Yeah, we discarded a second decimate. I'm curious. It's like
For the Empire.
we probably have to just be attacking with this Bandle Gunners, but I'm curious if there's a space to where it.
You never.
I lost my train of thought. We're losing on that one, but this is good.
Serving lead.
That Conservatory is so close. So close to getting Tybalacked out here.
Just need a second.
Alright, let's wait on our Tristana here. As it stands, we can just block this Legion rearguard. We'll get the time to get out in front of it. I want to see if we can't, say, put Spell Shield on Tristana, and then also be able to give these additional owls the bonus attack. So if he does turn up with a blocker for Tristana, we have the damage coming in through the owls. Ideally, I mean, he's only got one card in hand. We can just hate spike whatever that card is, and then crush in with Tristana, but I wanted to get a little bit of stats on these things. Alright, opponent says GG. Drop a little Shen emote. On to the next one. Time for the timelines.
The way the Vandal Gunners do.
And I must say, I do not want to be playing Poppy Ziggs in this format. We're playing a lineup that isn't even dedicated towards beating the aggro decks. It's just decks that should be strong enough against them. And being in this space to where we haven't really been struggling is tough. Tough for them, I think. But so, interesting spot here. I've got a light bulb about to flicker out. It's getting kind of annoying. But with this, I don't feel like we can just hard mulligan for concurrent timelines in this match. Like, we certainly want it. We'd love to find it early, but I'm definitely wanting to hang on to the innovative blacksmith. And LOL, like a pro. I want to have a Hookmaster just to play on turn 2 as well. But fantastic addition with the concurrent timelines coming in. It is worth noting with the innovative blacksmith, if you play it under the timelines, you do still get to gain the health, and so we will potentially be getting to gain 1 life off of the innovative blacksmith, assuming that we just drop it on turn 3. Here, gonna go with the combat reel. I'd like to build up some stats if we can,
Looking at Ionia's Championship 10 times running.
or build up some mana in the event that we draw a burn spell, and then oof, getting lifesteal, bro. Not bad, not bad. Let's just add in the 1 blacksmith. Like, if you're not familiar with the sequences of these things, who do we want here? I don't want the charger. Right, he's not going to be. Let's just take the Vanguard Sergeant. But I'm looking to say play Hookmaster and then have the Hookmaster be the unit that gets loaded up with the timelines, and then we can play the blacksmith and actually have it on board and use it to gain 2 and 3 and 4 health across the course of the game. It may not matter so much in this game. We high rolled into the keeper of the box, and he's just gonna be dropping nonsense on the opponent in terms of health gain. But I like the idea of being able to Hookmaster into blacksmith on the next turn.
From all the regions we are one.
All right, Combat Cook coming in. Gonna keep playing it defensive here and take the Pot of Pain. Did find a way to... Oh, Allegiance isn't gonna trigger. I saw the Basilisk Rider and thought we were just gonna be overwhelming, but not the case. Go with Fey Guide, it has more health.
Garlic works in a pinch.
Looking good, looking strong. So with this turn, I don't really want to block with Keeper of the Box. We might take a couple of points of damage, but I would prefer to have him heal the full 4 and not just be sitting around with damage. Like if we take the Keeper of the Box and block Vandal City Mayor, and then it dies to Pirouette, that doesn't feel very good. Man, I had such big ideas for this innovative blacksmith line. He's gained so much health this game. It feels almost worthwhile to just go ahead and run it out. But let's just keep adding these decent units to the board. Give my supported ally elusive this round. That would be pretty tempting if we needed to gain the health off of our Keeper of the Box, but I'm just going to take the quick attacking unit. It's going to be a good blocker for the turn.
What does that thing do? It explodes, of course. Go ahead, light the fuse.
Or good attacker for the turn. This is fine. We'll send. If he really wants to Ziggs block the Quick Quill to take a value block, that's fine. He almost assuredly has to block the Keeper of the Box, and we're just so far ahead at this point. I feel pretty good about not keeping the lifesteal unit around. Alright, we've almost got him burned out, though. Almost got him.
I have my orders.
So good at healing, deck. So good. It's the way I planned it. That's the way we planned it. Vi comes in, ready for some overwhelm. I don't think Shark Trainer's actually scary here.
One girl wrecking crew.
Hi there, chum. Make your papa proud, Tom.
There's the 1-2 punch.
Okay, let's just not take damage, right? As long as this game drags on, we're going to be completely okay. We just need to deal one more point of damage, and everything will be fine. And so, let's load up the Pot of Pain onto Vi. If we were going to go the Overwhelm plan with this Fish-A-Whack, we could have looked to have just gone ahead and played the concurrent timelines, but I think I'm happy enough with how this looks. Now, with the big overwhelming Jax, that should be enough to end the game. We have 8 mana, we can do Hookmaster, Jax, and Blowback. Everything should be fine. Silent Shadow Seer with with the weapon, get our elusive bro in there, get the Jax in here. I think this is done. It might have been like a little greedy to not be attacking because of cards like Pirouette, but I don't think that's going to be enough to stop us here.
For Acacia! And you know what? Also for me!
All right.
My heroic last stance never seemed to stick.
Pirouette number 2 coming at us. Doesn't seem to be. Dropping the GGs. Well played. Victory unlocked. All right. Pretty easy when you high roll like that. We deserve it on occasion. We deserve it. All right. And so as we enter the final battle, the life advice from Bust. God, you're finding us a game so fast. We have so much to talk about. We're gonna ban out Heimerdinger Jace here. The Darkness is just one of these decks I never feel strongly about. Its strength, and so we'll leave it in. Annie Twisted Fate is going to be very similar to that deck we saw earlier, except it has Annie's in to also work with that Tybalak space with the Riptide Rexes. But as we have a few moments to count down here, and so you have to know in life, if you're in a present giving situation and you're gonna kind of fuck around with it and give like a joke present or something, you have to have a backup real present. And so I had a moment in history to where like we went to a Christmas party. There was a bunch of Magic players, and we did a gift exchange. You know, your Secret Santa is what it would be. And so at this event, like I had a joke gift. I drew one of my very close friends, a person I traveled with to all these events. We had kind of an inside joke running about Downton Abbey. I forget what it was, but we had something running with it. And so with this event, for like the $20 limit on it, I got him a DVD copy of season 1 of Downton Abbey. And so if that's the end of it, that's kind of a lame thing to do. It would have been okay. Like, he's not going to get his feelings hurt about it. We had jokes about it, but I also got him some like $20 basic land that he really liked, that he used and was trying to acquire more copies of. But if you're acquiring $20 copies of basic lands, you got to typically kind of pick and choose. And so we had the joke gift and the real gift, and we called it a day. Someone else at the party got somebody a pocket pussy, or it would have been like I don't know, I guess it's kind of like a fleshlight. It's I'm not entirely certain what the naming on it would be anymore, but he gave it to the dude. He got, super upset, and there was no like follow-up. That was the end of the present giving situation. Was that he gave him the adult toy. And that guy got so mad that he eventually just got up and left the party and stormed out and everything. Was it a little bit of an overreaction? Sure, but his feelings were hurt, and that's what happened. And so, with that kind of idea in mind, right? If you're gonna give a joke gift, you need to have kind of a real backup behind it, or someone's feelings might end up getting hurt. And so, where this story is going and where it's taking itself is I came home from the gym the other day. I always go to the gym at like 6 in the morning, and so everybody is asleep while I'm gone, and usually asleep by the time I get back. And so what I noticed is that I was coming in the house, there was like a cat turd or a possum turd. There was like just a giant turd directly on like the walkway. And so there's like a, I don't know, a concrete path that comes up to the front of our house, and there was a turd on it. And so I, in my infinite wisdom, I told my wife that someone left her a present outside and she should go look at it. Now, I was just operating under the assumption that she's gonna see it, right? It's like right fucking there. It's right in front of the walkway. It's not like it's just like directly in front of the door. It wasn't on like the doormat that says hello, goodbye, or whatever shit that you say for the stuff that comes from Target. But is this gonna be bad? Hang on. We have to stop and take a moment to think. We want to hate spike. The Annie is starting to grow. I think we have a touch of time for Twisted Fate, but we don't have good removals for Twisted Fate. And so I'm looking to hate spike one of them. And I'm hoping opponent has to go like random removal to try and stop this. And so I'm going to try and take down the Annie. But this is kind of the critical one. I don't want to throw a real unit at this. I don't think we're in a good spot here. Fuck. All right, you probably just lost the game. But no, at the end of the day, the wife walked outside to find the present. She thought there was a real present out there that one of her friends had left her or something, and she barefoot stepped onto this giant cat turd. And let me tell you, she was not pleased. She was not happy with old Bust. Things were not pleasant in the household that morning, and she wasn't that mad. She got over it, but it was a memory in that. Oh yeah, I've been in this situation before, to where the turd comes up and everyone's not aware as to what's about to happen. All right, but this is painful though. Like that turn's gonna just turn out to be brutal. Opponent's gonna get Tibbers. They may even have the 1 to 2 mana spell right now to flip Annie, get Tibbers, throw Tibbers down onto Bandle City Mayor, clear out the board. Like, we are in just an ultra shitty spot at this moment, and we're gonna struggle to win from here.
I want to play a game of hide and seek.
It is what it is. God, intern, get the attack token thing out of here. Jesus. Okay. So this is probably an incoming Ravenous Flock as well. Ravenous Flock onto the Bandle City Mayor. No. Alright, well, we got to attack with everybody. Tibbers just kills too much of our board. Ooh. Maybe.
Look, a thing.
Elf, that's not ours.
Alright, we got the Tibbers out of the way. Give us a little bit of time with our damaged units here. So I'm still leaning towards attacking with everybody. Like, opponent has a good block with the Arachnoid Sentry onto Bandle City Mayor. I'm kind of over needing the mana at this point, so that's fine. Otherwise, he could put the Arachnoid Sentry in front of Tenor of Terror, and our Bandle City Mayor survives. That's even better. He has another good one with the Tentacle onto our 1-2, but we're needing to kind of like refill and clear out the board anyway, so I think this is fine. Just punch in as much damage as we can so we can try and get him into Atrocity range. And we do have this puzzling signpost to stop any mid-combat shenanigans here. I think the Ravenous Flock is okay. What are we going to have after this? We're going to have a Mayor and a 2-3. He's got a shitload of units. Yeah, it only costs 1 mana, right? Like, you can't immediately replay the thing. Like, the signpost would counterspell it for a round, but let's just pull it back. I'm gonna see if we can't play the Bandle Gunners and Pot of Pain at the same time here. I mean, we're really close to the lethal, right? If we find ourselves able to impact with the Bandle Gunners, that'll take him to 10, and then we have 6 from the Shark Trainer, maybe some Overwhelm from the Shark Tooth. Like, we're real close if we can just get a little bit further. Annie comes in. We have to block. I can't just get hit by Riptide Rex at this point, and so I think we can throw the aloof in front. I want to kind of ensure that we're able to attack in with the Vandal Gunners and hopefully get that impact damage in. So as it stands now, we should be able to Vandal City Mayor, and then we haven't played any multi-factioners yet. That should get us in a spot to where we can now add in the Shark Trainer. And so what's happening now, I'm looking to open attack next turn. Do, whatever damages we can deal here. Twisted Fate's about to flip. That's going to be a real pain in the dick. But if we can get him to 7, and then we can play the Scholarly Climber, we can add the Pot of Pain to it, and then do a Spell Shielded Atrocity. That's pretty close. It's pretty close, because we could have thought through a lot of these things a little bit more, but we're almost there. So I have like multiple Ravenous Flux in hand? No, he just wants a blocker. Okay. Now, I did have something weird happen the other day where the Shark Trainer attacked and then didn't do anything.
Guess you can win 'em.
I felt like I had the mana to do it and the space on the board, but it didn't quite work. I wanna put forth the attack and then make sure the shark's coming out. And so, all right, we got Shark Boy here at the end. Lava Girl nowhere to be seen, but the Short Tooth coming through. This Twisted Fate's gonna rip through us as well. Not excited to see how much opponent can chain off here. But we're close. We're close. Just gotta do a little more, right? Where it's gonna get nasty is that gold card from Twisted Fate's gonna stun our Vandal Gunners. And then it's not going to... it's not going to deal that impact damage. So we're only hitting for 3. It's kind of depressing. It's kind of depressing. What do we got? Vandal Commando turns up. We have a lot of time here. I'm pretty confident that this game is over with. Just getting to untap with Twisted Fate and then just chain all this stuff off. We should be dead at this point, but we're real close, man. If this Vandal Gunners can come in and do the damage, like I like the idea that we have here of being able to just deal this last 3 points of damage, and we can come in for the 7. So we're still in it. We're still in it. It's an interesting pokey stick. Like, I think we have to just drop it on the Annie, but having another spot to where we could potentially just send it to face, I'm interested. Ooh, and a Vengeance? Okay, okay. Slow Steve down just a little bit. The scary thing from him is he starts to chain off all these spells and then he gets to red card down our team, right? But if we can get him off the board now, he full clears our team and then we're able to follow up with Grandfather Fae. He's just got another Twisted Fate in hand, right? Let's take it a little slow, see what he does.
Soak it in.
Oh no, the blue card popped our equipment. Oh, that sucks. That sucks. Now we gotta get to where we're doing like 5. You need to take him to 5 for the climber plan. This is gross. I think we just have to run it out. His next card should be blue, right? What was his? He red carded. His next card should be. His next card's gold card. Gold card will hit the shark. So we should be able to play the climber, and then threaten to put the climber in front of Annie. Depending on how fast he goes here. It's still bad, but I don't know, man. Maybe, maybe we'll draw Tristana and just blast with the Atrocity and not lose, right? We got a chance. We got a shot. Okay. Grumble Slug, not quite what I was looking for. All right, let's just end this one. We're gonna be here forever with this and not actually win. If you're playing in like an open, you can continue to play that and maybe get to clock your opponent out, but it doesn't feel worthwhile here. All right, on to the next one. That's tough. It's so tough seeing like victory so close yet so far away. I don't know. We had the choice to either pick on the Annie or pick on the Twisted Fate, and we went for the Annie. Like that was the critical turn. Having that hate spike fail. I mean, we could have hate spiked a real unit, but like the choices are so low, and what that they can actually pop a 1 health unit with there consistently. Like I don't know if the dude is even playing Make It Rain, but that was tough. That was tough. So do we want to get rid of everything here? I'd like to find a cheaper play. Not so much Teemo as much as a Bandle Commando or a Grandfather Fae. Like, this isn't a match where I want to sit around and wait until the 3rd turn before we even put a unit on the board. So that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and add in the Teemo. He dies to a lot. This deck plays a lot of 1 damage pings. Quietus, sure. Group shot. I'm curious. I was very curious to see if that was going to be a Go Hard. Go Hard is a very powerful one that they're able to throw at us, but came at us with the Quietus. That's okay. Now I'm going to come in with the Bandle Commando. I'd like to... like, the Grandfather Phase just aren't good in the early game. And if we're able to have the Commando down, we put the Wandering Shepherd on it, maybe we get to generate an Owlcat. And that's going to give us a turn or two from now to where we can potentially get those bigger owls on the board. Now with this, we had the option between Quick Attack and the Fearsome. I took the Fearsome one for the point of toughness, and so as it stands right now, his darkness is deal 2. If we can have a couple of turns of running our Bandle Commando through the opponent and surviving any of the darkness, you know, he needs a darkness and a darkness grower to take the Bandle Commando down. So it leaves him in a much safer space than if opponent was just playing the single darkness generator. So let's sequence it like this. I'm gonna play the Owlcat. I assume that he's going to darkness our Grandfather Fae. And so now we can just follow up with another Grandfather Fae. Oh, he's going after the Commando. Weird. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go for the bigger owls. Curious to see what he does. Like, if he's planning to play a Pokey Stick, it's just a very mana-intensive turn for opponent. Let's get this dum-dum off the board and see how he reacts. It's like, now that we've got... Ooh, that's a very, very grindy play. But it's like, now that we've picked up, like, we have Tristana and all these cards, I'm...
On it and on 'em.
That's tough. Like, I want them to all pick up the impact next turn.
Out and
All right, let's send it. It does give him the potential to value block on the Grandfather Fate, but he's going to get domed if he takes it, and it feels like, he's wanting to spend mana this turn onto the Bandle Commando. And so I would like to see him, just spend a bunch of mana and then let us drop Tristana and all these good units. It seems like the burn spell or whatever he has is just getting, primed and ready for Commando. Okay. This seems reasonable. Also gives us a little bit of potential to protect Tristana with the Sandsworn Amulet. Curious how opponent approaches this next turn. Like if they start the turn and just pass, I think it'd be kind of interesting. Definitely like seeing him spend a bunch of mana here, though. Like, if he plays a card, then we know our Tristana is safe from Atrocity. He doesn't have a 3 damage, or he needs a 4 damage Darkness to take Tristana down at this point, because she'll be flipped. It's in a very powerful spot. He saves the 6 mana. I think we're still just going to go for it. She's too good. Like, if his play is now Vengeance, game's done. Game's done, right? And so let's see how much he has to spend in trying to deal with this. And then if he doesn't kill the Tristana but has the answers to her, like if he picked up a Wallop or something, we're still just going to be picking up so many stats and impacts from her hanging out on the board. Makes me feel nice and safe on the inside.
Come, it's showtime.
Alright, does not appear to have the answer. Alright, Tristana, I give you all the stats in the world. You're looking big and strong. Big and strong. Earn a stealth out here.
Someday, these young scouts could be Vandalwood gunners.
Well, you got Peace that perhaps won't survive this snowball fight. Poison Dart onto Teemo. Alright. See how it goes. Take the unit off the board, then we'll open attack. Not gonna come out with the Bandle Gunners. I don't want to give the opponent a chance to play Ixtali Sentinel, whatever the lifesteal dude is. Like, as it stands, I mean, I guess opponent is gonna have to spend a bunch of mana to come in and handle this Tristana. Like, if he picked up a stun or something, then she's still gonna be safe. Alright, I'm gonna add the Bandle Gunners. Right, if he wants to spend 6 mana on an Ixtali, then we're going to be fine. He has to get in front of too much. Opponent says, you're right, Bust, that's too much. Ooh. Game 7 coming in. The final battle of the final game, of the final match, the final Ruthless Rumble. The stresses are huge. The stresses are big. Let's see if we can handle it. My heart racing, my bladder pounding. Something like that, right? I need something besides a high heart rate to get through this one. All right, let's see what we can do. So definitely hanging on to the Jagged Butcher. It's a tempting round for the Spirits Unleashed. It doesn't kill too much against the opposing deck, but growing all of our units to the point to where they're out of Pokestick range and able to survive darknesses and stuff. I really like having that kind of thing. But let's lead in with Jagged Butcher. He's a more challenging unit to kill. We did see opponent play Quietus, so this may not work as well as we want on the first turn, but it does survive all the 1 damage cards, the Go Hards, the Group Shots, the Pastry Tosses, and so I think it's worth just running out. Everybody can survive a Catalyzer, that's good. Have to kind of watch with the stupid Formidable unit in the sense that if we attack with the Formidable unit and then he Pokesticks it and blocks it with the Catalyzer and then he gets a second upgrade on the Catalyzer, That's a scary that's a scary moment, right? He's got 4 darknesses at that point, and so I'm leaning towards on this next turn open attacking with the Butcher and with the Mirai Warden, but leaving the Hound at home. Now things are a little bit different in that we need to get that ping in. So, well, this is tough. Like, oh no, he takes the pokey stick route. Damn. Okay. Maybe we should have played one Butcher here. Right? It's just like as we're sitting on both Gangplank and Sejuani, I was really wanting to get the damage ping in this turn. But, okay. We'll let it go. Alright, well everybody's coming in now.
There's plenty of killing left.
Got here. Grant an enemy frostbite me at next round start. Okay. You've been frostbitten at next round. All of our jagged butchers are gonna make their way through. So we will dominate you in combat. Combat domination.
Neither the flames nor the depths can claim me.
Alright, Gangplank in. It's not super important to get the Sejuanis flipped in this game. It's definitely big for Gangplank though, but we're so far away from it. Like we it was odd. Like we had that turn 1 and I felt really good about it. We didn't have any turn 2 plays that would activate the things, but then on like at this point we've only got 2 level ups. Felt like it should have been a lot more. Alright. Nice chunk of damage rolling through. And so I'm not like set on playing Sejuani this turn. I'd like to be able to... Oh, what a Spirit's Unleashed. I was going to say, it's kind of interesting if we can go into the next turn with a 3-bank since we already have the other Sejuani in hand. So that gives us a place to where we can... have 10 mana in total and still play Fury of the North. So with this, we are going to lose our Father Fury. We talked about this a little bit earlier, having the powder kegs on the board with the Spirits Unleashed. Kind of sucks as you're dealing the extra damage, at least in this space, to where we lose our Father Fury, but I think that's okay and worthwhile there. I was about to say RIP Gangplank. But very close to the lethal, very close. I'm just gonna take this. I think we can safely fall to 10. Like we can't get burnt out from here from something like Vagar, right? But I think I feel a little bit safer if we get to make this attack here. We have Father Fury to the left.
Anything can be scattered to its elements, even us.
You have to change this up now. This is the one that I was worried about coming in. We can... Oh man, the thing that I kind of let slide was... We get to just kill here? So this takes him to 5, and then Sejuani flips, and then we should get the kill through the Acolyte, right? This should be exacties. And then we can still attack with the Butcher at the end. Okay.
My spirit is stone.
All right. I miss that sometimes. I forget that you can, you should be going after that damage unit. I have this real autopilot problem as to where I always look for the kind of value play, and you can see that unit's better than the other ones, when we should have really been thinking about putting the hook into the 1 health unit so that Sejuani can come in and deal maximum damage through the opponent. But at the end of the day, glory achieved, glory unlocked. Have we finished off this thing? We're almost to the end of the pass. I got to start switching over into our secondary account and playing rumbles on there, since we should hopefully hopefully get the remaining 35 XP we need off of the opens. But very good set of games. I like how everything played out in the face of the aggro decks, right? I know we did do quite a bit of high rolling with the concurrent timelines deck, but I feel like we really manhandled Poppy Ziggs across the course of the day, and then the other just aggro-based matchups weren't that bad. And so I like being in this spot to where I don't feel bad playing against any of the aggro decks in the format, and that does really kind of hammer home the ability to ban out things like Nasus Thresh, or, as we haven't really been seeing too much of Nasus Thresh, banning out some of the more control-heavy decks that we don't want to see, like Victor Aphelios and such. And so I like how that's really kind of played out, and I like how we're in that kind of middle ground space to where we're still doing aggressive things that I like to do, but we aren't too close to the aggro, or too close to the control end of the spectrum to where I don't really feel comfortable anymore. I really like coming out and attacking with units and not just playing dumb spells all day, right? give me a green creature, you know? Let me come out here and attack with my stats and stuff. And so I like the lineup where it's at there. The thing that I'm kind of brewing in my headpiece, and the thing that makes me kind of interested, is if we can find ourselves in a lineup, you know, kind of similar to this. I really like Tristana Atrocity. I've been okay-ish with Gangplank Sejuani. The third deck I've been kind of like tinkering around with was that space of the concurrent timelines deck. But I'm kind of interested in the sense of, can we assemble a lineup to where we're in this same space, to where we're decent against the aggro decks? They don't feel like bad matchups. We're in this kind of 50-50-ish range with all of our decks against all of the other decks, but can we find a spot to where we can leave up Thresh Nasus? That's the kind of lineup space that I'm kind of interested in. I don't think it's going to turn up. I think making decks that are good against Thresh Nasus puts you in that kind of spot to where we were talking earlier about the Sundisk and Rise at the top end of the spectrum, and you're good against a certain subset of decks, but not against a lot, and I think it kind of pushes us that way. And so something in this space is probably where we'll land as the Eternal opens come up, but definitely interested in checking out the results of the Mastering Runeterra Open. For me, it should still be going on. I think it's probably in the top cut space right about now, but as this video is released, the event should be over, and we can see what that will be to kind of define the meta for the future. That's what always happened in Magic, right? It was like a set would come out. Right after the set came out, there would be a Star City Open that kind of defined the meta, and then the Pro Tour would happen the week after with the meta defined by the Star City Open. And I think that's the way that this will, you know, typically play out with these Mastering Runeterra events, really setting up the kind of core lineups that you're going to see at least half the time throughout the event. But nonetheless, good stuff. Lineup felt good. Games felt good. I had fun. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way, and you had a good time watching. So this is Bust and Weed. Thank you for being here.